What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes? Welcome back to another episode of your potentially favorite Nigerian podcast. Bear with me, your host, General Prime. Hope everybody's chilling, enjoying the summer, as usual. What's going on today in the world? It's turning out that it's kind of looking like the Epstein list, right? Is not going to come out. During Trump's campaign, his presidential campaign, he was bragging, was boasting, he was talking about how he's going to release the Epstein list. He was talking about how he's going to release the classified documents concerning JFK's assassination. He was just bragging, just hyping people up and just playing on people's emotions just so that he can come back to being the president, just so he can be re-elected. And now he has become the president. Things have changed. A lot of things that he promised, a lot of things that that made people to want to vote for him. He's either falling short on them, or he's going against them, or he's falling short of people's expectations. And the latest one that is going on now is that the fucking Epstein's list, the one that everybody has been anticipating for a very long time now, anticipating to come out and know the truth about, is spanning out, it's coming out, it's shaping out to be that it's not going to come out because the FBI, they are saying there's nothing on the list. In fact, they're saying the list does not exist, bro. As in, sometimes when I look at all these people in power, I've come to realize that they think very little of us. They think very little of the masses. They think very little of the people that they are leading, that they are in charge of. They feel like we don't have sense. The masses don't have sense. They feel like we are not intelligent. Do you understand? For them to come out blatantly and just say it blatantly that there is nothing to show, that it makes it sound like these people are just taking us for granted. They are joking with us. Do you understand? I'm not an American, but I'm just somebody that like every other person, like most people actually, are watching and observing and just seeing what is going on in this world. How the people in positions of power just ridicule people, just ridicule the masses and look down on the masses and take the masses for granted. As if we don't have sense. How can you say that there is nothing on the Epstein's list? If there is nothing on the list, right? If there are no prominent names, then release what you have. But if there is actually no list, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Why is she in prison? Why did you arrest her? And what is she? What is her crime? What is the reason for her being in prison? Is anybody not? Do they not think that human beings can think this far? The normal human beings, don't these people in power think that human beings can actually think this far? That why is she in prison? And then they're saying that Epstein didn't kill himself. Obviously, that is the line that they've been parading for a very long time now, that he didn't kill himself. But obviously, as in, truth is supposed to be stranger than fiction. But these are the things that happen in movies, and just because they happen in movies don't mean that they cannot happen in real life. These things happen in real life. They have happened time and time again, and we are seeing it again, that this person that was put in prison, even though yes, he had suicidal ideations he had suicidal ideations in the past. I'm even sure that was an excuse that they used and succeeded in taking him out, just so that everybody will just agree that, oh yes, he had suicidal ideations. It's sad, man. It's fucking sad that this is the state of the world, where truth, where being plain, where being honest has been lost on us completely. As in, in Andor, in the I think in season 2 of Andor, where Mort Mortimer was talking about how, her famous speech, right? I'm sure everybody knows about that in season 2 of Andor. I'm sorry that something I've noticed about myself is that I am not a very good storyteller. I just ramble and I ramble, and I feel like that's a problem, and that's one of the reasons why the channel or the podcast is not growing, because I've come to realize that a lot of people find me boring, but I just don't want that to. I just don't want that to continue to play in my head. But the best way I believe I can, improve is just to improve. Like there's no excuse for it. But anyways, I was talking about Motma, right, in Andor, and her famous speech about Palpatine being the monster that everybody should be scared of, and how she was talking about how the distance between humanity and the truth has become so large that we don't even recognize what truth is anymore. We don't even know what it is, and we just keep lying and lying and lying. And it's like the people in power, like these heads of state and people in positions of power, it's like they understand that if you continue to lie, lying is a very detrimental thing. Like for you to cover the truth, you need one layer of lie, and for you to untie, or should I say unpack that layer of lie, you need another layer of lie. Like lying is a very dangerous thing, and if you continue to do it, there is no going back. I don't even understand why the people that, like, if the people in power, if the people in positions of power understand that, because it eventually leads to destruction. Lying eventually leads to destruction. There is no going back, unless, as in, it will take a lot of effort to undo the lies that that have been piled on for time immemorial. It takes a lot of effort to undo it. So it is easier for you to just tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, everybody understands, everybody realizes, and you'll be surprised that there won't even be much that comes out of it, with how fast and how little our attention spans have gotten over the years, and our attention spans currently are. You'll be surprised that people will forget about it so quickly and move on to something else. So, but then lying makes people distrust you. Like if somebody lies to me, bro, I just find myself being naturally unable to trust the person anymore. And I hope that's just the same way it is with everybody else. So now they're talking about how the Epstein list does not exist. There is nobody on the list. Like there's nothing there, and you expect people to believe you. You expect people to take you seriously. You expect people to continue to regard you. That's kind of wild, man. It's crazy that they take us for fools. It's crazy that they take us for people that, like, they assume that we are unable to think. As in, they've fucked us up so much. They've made us to, as in, like, they fucked us up so much. Our world has become so much of a so dystopian that they don't even have faith in us. They cannot even believe that we are capable of thinking for ourselves. They cannot believe that we are capable of, like, our own independent thoughts, and that's why they think they can just, like, lie anyhow. That's why they think they can just tell us anything, and they just assume that we'll swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And it's wild. And the same thing that is happening in Nigeria now. In Nigeria now, we're seeing the whole coalition party. These people, they're not serious about it. They are literally not serious about it. They're just going about it in their own, like I've said in my previous episode, right? They're just going about it and doing it for their own selfish interests. Just doing it because, they want something personal, or they want something just personal to gain from it. And it's sad. And somebody made a post, right, talking about how if you found yourself to be the president of Nigeria, right, what are you going to do differently? I've actually talked about this before, like a very long time ago, and I was actually thinking of it, like, if from what I've come to know, and from all I know presently, if I find myself to be the president of Nigeria, like, how am I going to go about it? What am I going to do? And the things that I wrote down in the past, I think there were some things there that I got wrong, or just say because I was not as informed as I am today. I didn't really know much about them to really, say the right things about them. But I think today's video is just going to be about me talking about what I'm going to do, or how I'm going to act if I'm the president of Nigeria today. So let's go into it. The first and foremost thing that I'm going to do if I'm the president of Nigeria, if I happen to be the president, is to create energy. right? No, the way our world is today, nothing can function without electricity. Nothing can function without energy. And if you're a country without sufficient energy, there is no progress. There is nothing that is going to grow. There is, as in energy, as in another thing you have to understand again is that energy, like everything connects, as in I'm going to explain to you what I mean by everything connecting to everything is in connection with each other, right? So if you don't have energy, then automatically you won't have your industries will not function properly. And because your industries won't function, because your industries are unable to function properly, other things will be affected, like transportation, food, you understand, agriculture, like so many things will be affected by it. So but then let's take it like gradually, let's take it like step by step, and let me explain to you why. So Nigeria is a country that is functioning on about 16,000 megawatts of electricity, right? Like the entire country of Nigeria, bro, just functioning on 16,000 megawatts of electricity. To put it in context, right? America is running on 4,178 billion kilowatts of electricity. That's like roughly 477 gigawatts of electricity. So that is just to show you how far behind Nigeria is. And the best way I believe that Nigeria can, Nigeria can catch up, Nigeria can be up to date at least, is to introduce like various forms of power generation. There is this video I saw one time I think that was like in Singapore, where they use wind generation. Like you know how they talk about how they say all these like green energies, like wind farms, right? They are not as sufficient, or should I say they are not as sufficient as everybody thinks. Neither are they as green as climate activists think. So but another way that I've seen that is a lot more, sufficient and a lot more that makes more sense actually is if you can put them like in the middle of the road, like on roadsides, not even on roadsides, on like, the barriers that divide roads, right, in the middle. So that when cars pass, the wind from the cars will spin the fans, and then the fans in turn will like generate electricity. I saw a video like that one time in that they were doing it in Singapore, and I think that's like a very brilliant idea to implement that kind of technology. And that is not like it's going to, I know as in wind generation is not as powerful as people think. Wind generation, using wind to generate electricity is not as powerful as everybody thinks, right? So it's not like it's going to like power, I don't know, but it's just something that will contribute to the grid basically. Just another contribution to the grid. Another thing again that we can implement is obviously solar. But again, we have come to learn that solar is not as efficient as we think, because it's not every time that it will be sunny, right? That is the first problem. It's not every time that it's going to be sunny. The second problem that we'll be running into is that we don't have enough battery to contain all the energy that the solar panels would produce, and because of that, electricity won't be as much at night, like during the dark. And then the next thing that we have to put into consideration is the fact that solar panels are kind of like an eyesore. If you look at all these like solar fields where they use solar panels to cover vast areas of land that is land that is arable, land that is actually healthy, land that they can use to do other things, right? Is not good to just just scatter solar panels everywhere. Instead, I've seen here in Turkey, right? I've seen where they use solar panels as the roofing for car parks. Like, how like in car parks, right? Instead of you to just like leave all the cars there and allow them to just be taking in heat from the sun, I've seen them build like roofs over the car parks, and those roofs are made of solar panels, and then those solar panels go on to provide electricity for buildings that are close to the car parks, like let's say malls or casinos and stuff like that, or hospitals. So I think that's like a very good way to I think that's like a very good way to use solar electricity or solar generation more efficiently. The next another idea again, I think that will be very beneficial, especially in Nigeria, is even though this one is a lot more expensive and it's take a lot more time, but in the long run, it's going to be it's going to like the net benefit is going to outweigh the initial cost and time and all of that stuff, all of that stuff, right? Nuclear energy. Imagine that Nigeria comes into the nuclear age, right? Where we're now nuclear capable and we're not able to like build nuclear facilities or nuclear industries that can generate electricity for us. Nigeria has 36 states. So imagine that Nigeria has like, let's say, 10 nuclear power plants. 10 nuclear power plants. Just imagine that Nigeria has 10 nuclear power plants strategically placed all around Nigeria that can generate electricity for all those states and for all the states actually. Yes, it is very expensive, right? Yes, it is very expensive and it takes a lot of time. Like it takes a long time to build a nuclear power plant. But in the long run, I think that it will be beneficial because nuclear energy is actually the safest and the cleanest form of energy. The only reason why it has a lot of like, drama or it has a lot of baggage that it comes with is because of the incidents that happened in Chernobyl and also in Fukushima, right? But people fail to take into account the fact that those, like in the case of Chernobyl, right? I mean, we have all seen the HBO series, and there are several books that talk about the incident that happened in Chernobyl, right? And so we all know that the reason why the accidents in Chernobyl happened is because of their incompetence and because they were cutting costs and because they were being cheap. You understand? So, but if we go all out, and I'm sure that there are a lot of like brilliant scientists in Nigeria. Like Nigeria is not, we are not in short of anything intellectual. Like we are very brilliant people in Nigeria, but also it's not like we are not going to like need help in building that kind of infrastructure in strategic places in Nigeria, right? So obviously we are going to need outside help from foreigners. So, but it will take a lot of time. Actually, it will take a lot of time. But until then, I believe that all these other like examples that I've given can help Nigeria to continue to stay afloat at least, because it's kind of sad that in 2025 today Nigeria is still running on 16,000 megawatts. It's just sad. Like there's no other way that you can think about it. It's not even that Nigeria is not progressing again. We're actually regressing. We're actually like falling short, because where Nigeria used to be in, let's say, 2014, 2015, do you understand? We are worse off than where we used to be in 2014, 2015. Like that was like, I believe 2015 was like the height of Nigeria's like progress. But today we're just like falling short. Today we're just like, we are losing, we are regressing, we are failing woefully. The whole world, even as it stands now, we don't even need to like use other foreign countries as examples of how Nigeria is like falling behind. They're now using like other African countries like Ghana. Like there's this viral tweet that is going about now about the universities in Ghana and how they're being compared to the universities in Nigeria. It's kind of sad when you look at it. It's kind of sad when you look at the state of universities in Nigeria and you see how dilapidated they are, how behind they are, how retarded they actually are. Actually, Nigerian universities are just so fucking bad. And I always ask myself, like, how are people comfortable enough to not only, as Nigerians, we are strong people. For us to be able to, for Nigerian students to be able to go through Nigerian universities, the chaos that is Nigerian universities, right? Let's not even like talk about the infrastructures of the universities. Let's talk about other things like lack of, proper university equipment, proper learning tools, imagine medical students in Nigeria in 2025 still learning how to draw bro. Nigeria is it's very shameful to talk about. Do you understand? Like, it's very shameful to not only admit, but to talk about. We are now using like other African countries now to compare to Nigeria, and we are seeing how shameful it is, how behind we are. Look at the universities in Ghana. Look at their new president. The new president in Ghana, even like he has refurbished the police academy. I'm going to let me not get ahead of myself. I'm going to like get there. So to go back to the whole electricity talk, right? Yeah, it's going to take time for us to have our own nuclear weapon, not nuclear weapons actually, our own nuclear capabilities, right? And another form of electricity again that we can implement is obviously coal. And coal, as in Enugu, is like the place where we have a lot of coal in Nigeria. And I don't understand why we're not really, the coal industry in Nigeria is not really, functioning properly. Why is that we cannot just, as I don't know, man. It's just that the government, obviously the government of Nigeria, not only that they don't care, or it's not even that they are not incompetent. I think that they are doing this deliberately. Like, I think that there is an agenda there's an agenda by the powers that be for Nigeria to not be a country anymore. And so they've kind of like infused, or they've kind of like put in this president, and this president is doing their bidding by systematically destroying Nigeria structure by structure, level by level, like just destabilizing Nigeria in every aspect. There are so many things, as in, to actually think of it, right? I'm not going to say that, being the president of Nigeria is an easy thing, but relatively, like, if you think of it, it's like, to make Nigeria a better country, right, is actually really, really, actually very easy. There are so many things that you can just do. So much that you can just, like, by law, just implement. And you see that things will start to change gradually, things will start to change from the inside. You understand? From the grassroots, from the foundations, things will start to change. So tell me why we have a state like Enugu that is the coast that produces a lot of coal, but yet we don't use that coal. Yeah, maybe people might be talking about climate change, but I've seen videos, or I've seen articles that talk about how the carbon that comes out of coal mining industries, right? It can be cleaned up. Carbon dioxide that comes out of it can actually be cleaned up and turned into and used for something else actually. So there is another way again that we can generate electricity. The amount of coal that we have in Nigeria, if we revive the coal industry in Nigeria and then use the coal to generate electricity, it doesn't have to be one thing. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be just either coal or just either solar or just only nuclear. No, we can use all these different aspects can come together to achieve the same goal. You understand? Like, for example, now we have Kainji Dam in Nigeria, right? We have this like enormous dam in Nigeria, but yet the dam is not working, or should I say, is not working to its full capacity. And you ask yourself why. You understand? Like, these are other things that we can do. These are other measures that we can take to make sure that electricity is something that is subsidized basically in Nigeria. And when electricity is subsidized, you see that industries will start to run effortlessly. You see that factories will not need generators anymore. The generator market will like go out of business. You understand? From there now, fuel will now become a lot cheaper. So if fuel is subsidized, right? Like, this is another way. This is another thing that I will do if I was the president of Nigeria, to subsidize fuel. But economically, I don't think, as in just to subsidize fuel, basically, as for a start first, to reduce the cost of fuel. And also now we have Dangote refinery, right? We now have Dangote refinery, and NNPC has been very, has for as long as we can remember, right? NNPC has been like the arm of foreign investors or foreign world powers or foreign leaders. Like, they come in, they take Nigeria's oil, and then they take it out and refine it and then sell it back to us. But thankfully now we have the Dangote refinery. Like, we can do all of that by ourselves. We have other refineries also that we can do it in-house. We don't need to do it outside again. And when we have this ability to do it in-house, I think it will now be a lot more efficient, and I think it will now be a lot cheaper and easier for Nigerian. Fuel will be cheap, basically. That's just all I'm trying to say. Fuel will be cheap, and when fuel is cheap, transportation in turn will be cheap. You see that, when transportation is like expensive in Nigeria, it cuts short a lot of movement. Places that people used to go to effortlessly before, just because the price of transportation has been increased, is that people no longer go there again, or people now use like alternative means. To now be, as in, like, Nigeria is just this place where there's not a lot of progress. Not much is happening, because in every aspect in the country, like, there's so much stifling, there's so much rigidity, there's no fluidity, there's no freedom to, like, just to be yourself and just to, like, conduct your business, just because everything is against you. Like, they've programmed Nigeria in such a way that everything is against the common man. Like, transportation is just unnecessarily expensive. So now we have covered the aspect of transportation, right, and the aspect of fuel. Another thing again, I believe that will make Nigeria to progress, if I was the president of Nigeria, is the issue of government spending. That is the one that I really want to talk about today, government spending. Whenever I see, all these, like, politicians in their convoys, right, you cannot, as in, there is this video I saw a while ago about the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria and his convoy. Like, he had like a 20-car convoy. And I was just asking myself, like, why is the Inspector General of Police moving like this? And like, he's the president of America. Do you understand? Like, why is he moving like this with all these, like, how much do they use to fuel these cars? And all the people around him, like, how much does he pay them? The same thing with the other politicians in Nigeria, right? You see them, like, moving with, like, even more than 20 cars. Like, when you see a senator, when you see the convoy of a senator, right, you ask yourself, like, why? As in, who are the people in all these cars, and why are they necessary? Like, what are they doing for this particular senator? And as in, what is their job? You understand? You see a senator with like a 30-car convoy, and you be asking yourself, like, what? If you look inside the cars, like, there are barely any people, there are barely anybody in the cars, right? And you cannot just wrap your head around it. So you cannot just wrap your head around the absurdity of it. So government spending will be tackled drastically, and all these, like, luxurious, or should I say unnecessarily luxurious lifestyle that politicians engage in and live in will be tackled. If you're a government official and you're the one, let's say, if you're a government official, right, and you're the type that needs, or should I say, you're high enough to deserve or want, like, a convoy, the highest you need would be like 2 cars. That will just be by law. A government official, a senator, right? Senators, as in, like, it should be just 2 cars. 2 cars, some say for 1. You understand? There are other countries, right? Like, they have seen videos of government officials in other countries that go to work on bicycles. Do you understand? You see a senator or a prime minister. There is a video I saw of a Nigerian woman that was going to work, like, working with the prime minister of that country, just going to work on foot. And you ask yourself, like, why can't this kind of thing happen in Nigeria? Why is that in Nigeria's case, you see them, like, traveling with all the cars in the world? Just moving with all the fucking cars in the world, and you be like, it's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. So that kind of thing, by law, is going to stop. By law, is going to stop. And again, Nigerian politicians, in fact, Nigeria is a place where, as a politician, right, is the best job in the world. Nigeria as a country is a place where, if you happen to, like, if you manage to become a Nigerian politician, to be a government official, like, that is the best job in the world, because you cannot be held accountable for anything. You can, as in, like, there's no accountability. They can do literally anything that they want to do. There is this story that was trending a while ago about a Nigerian a senator, right? that was harassing a delivery man and was talking about how he was going to, like, send police to, or should I say send his boys to kill the delivery man, and nothing will happen because he's a senator. Like, that is the kind of, that is the kind of audacity that they have, the kind of audacity that Nigerian politicians have, because they know that nothing is going to happen to them. There is no law there is no law that shields the average Nigerian from them. So that's why they believe they have every right to harm or to kill or to just like take for granted and just dehumanize and sodomize anybody that they come in contact with. So there will be a law. In fact, the then president of Nigeria, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, right? Before he died, he talked about how he talked about how he was going to, create a law that will hold Nigerian governments, like people in power, Nigerian politicians, government officials, hold them in power and keep them in check, so that if they go against, or if they are found to be corrupt, or if they just do anything that is bad, they will be arrested, they will be investigated, and they will be persecuted accordingly. Do you understand? So we don't have that. We don't have that currently in Nigeria now. Look at other countries like in China or in Japan, or like all these other prominent like countries that are doing well, right? If you're a politician there and you're found to, be engaging in anything that has a hint of corruption in it, you're going to jail for a very long time. I think now there is news now that is trending that there is a Chinese politician that is going to be sentenced to death because of fraud. Not that he's going to spend 10 years in prison. He's going to be sentenced to death because of fraud. So that kind of law should be implemented in Nigeria, and should be, it should be implemented to the extreme, so that nobody would nobody would take it for granted. If you're found, as in, obviously, yes, maybe there might be people that, but if you're found that, bro, you're engaging in something that is corruption, let's say they give you a project to oversee. You understand? Like, let me say they give you a contract for a project, and you now like take the money instead of you to like oversee the project properly. You now take the money and now start using the money to buy cars and enrich yourself and your family. Bro, you're going to jail. Like, it's not even that you'll be sentenced. Like, it has to be extreme. Like, what I mean by extreme is that you should be sentenced to death. You understand? Like, there should be no space for corruption in Nigeria. Like, if I'm the president of Nigeria, I'm going to implement that kind of law where, as a Nigerian politician, you'll be held to the highest level of accountability. You'll be held to the highest level of accountability, where if you're found wanting, you're going to be sentenced to death. Yar'Adua even extended it to himself, the president and the vice president. Like, this is how serious it has to be in Nigeria, because Nigeria is a place where corruption has seeped so deeply into the country, into the bone, into the marrow of the country. Not even only the Nigerian politicians are corrupt. Everyday Nigerians too are corrupt. You understand? Like, this is how bad it is in Nigeria, where everyday Nigerians too are corrupt, and it's just bad. So corruption should be something that should be tackled recklessly. Like, tackled recklessly in Nigeria, where if you're found wanting, bro, it's over for you. And I feel like that is even like a biological, or should I say a natural selection, where killing all the corrupt people will leave out the ones that are not corrupt. And so Nigeria will just by proxy just become better. So yeah, that's another thing I'm going to tackle. I'm going to tackle like government spending, and I'm going to implement a law where if you're a politician and you're found to be corrupt, that is over for you. You're not going to survive it. So yeah, that's another one. So the next thing I want to talk about again is the military in Nigeria, right? The police force in Nigeria and the military in general. Or let me just start by saying education first of all. Education in Nigeria. In Nigeria now we have NYSC, right? And frankly, NYSC, yes, it's a brilliant idea. In fact, there are other types of government, or should I say, it takes other forms in other countries. Like, for example, now in Israel, if you graduate from, let's say, the university, or should I say, university, if you graduate from the university, you by law you're made to serve in the IDF. You're made to serve 1 year as a soldier in Israel, and also here in Turkey too. If you graduate from a university, you have to like serve in the military for 1 year. So, anyways, in Nigeria we have NYSC, right? So, if I'm the president of Nigeria, what I'm going to do is that once when someone finishes their university, there are, you know, three things that they are going to do by law. Understand? Like three things that they are going to do by law. And this is to me, this is a revision of NYSC. To me, this is the best way to revise NYSC, because the way NYSC is now, you know, what they do is like they send you to like remote areas, or if you have money, they send you to like cities in, let me say cities, other cities in Nigeria. But for the most part, most people go to remote areas in Nigeria to either teach or do some, I don't know, mostly teach basically, and or work in companies. You understand? But that is not the only thing that, you know, that is not the only thing that NYSC should be for. You understand? That is not the only thing that NYSC should be for. If I'm the president of Nigeria, the NYSC would be when you graduate from the university, you're either going to have to serve in the military or serve go into the police force, or, you know, go into business. Do you understand? The Nigerian military will be revised, will be refurbished, as in like, you know, I don't know how they even employ police people in Nigeria, or even the army in Nigeria. I don't even know how they employ them. I don't even know how they get military personnel in Nigeria. They usually do adverts and calling on people to come and like join the military, or calling on people to come and join the police force. And the people that usually join are not educated. They are just people that I believe, you know, have nothing else going on for them in their lives, and so they join it not for patriotism's sake. They join it just to make money. Do you understand? They join it just to make money, because Nigeria, we all know the state of Nigeria, right? But when they now get into it, you see that they are not taken care of. Nigerian military they are not taken care of. In fact, there was a news a while ago where they said Nigerian police, the retired Nigerian policemen want to protest because God, Nigeria is a funny place. So they want to protest because their pension is being kept from them. So they are organizing like a protest. And the funny part is that their fellow Nigerian police, the ones that are still, you know, the ones that are still active, will be sent to, you know, disorganize and destroy the protest that the retired police are organizing. That is just to show you that is to show you how funny Nigeria is as a country. But in my own case, right, if I'm going to be the president of Nigeria, the police system is going to be refined, whereby from the onset, if you want to be a police officer, if you want to join the police academy or even the military, right, from the beginning, let's say there'll be different kinds of schools in Nigeria. You understand? There'll be different kinds of schools. There'll be universities for the military. We do have that in Nigeria. Actually, we have the Nigerian Defense Force, right? We have that in Nigeria, but it's not as prominent. I think it's just only, to the best of my knowledge, just only rich people's children that go there, and then when they come out, they graduate as officers. They are not infantrymen. They're not boots on the ground. They are not, you know, they're not boots on the ground basically. So there'll be schools all over Nigeria for joining the military and the police force, so that you train these people adequately, you train them well. It's not just be all these glorified beggars on the roadside, and you cannot blame them, because obviously they are not well paid, they are not looked after, they are not, you know, they're not taking the Nigerian police, they're not taken care of. That's why you see them everywhere on the road in Nigeria, just begging and harassing people and collecting bribes, and, you know, just being miscreants and being part of the problem. Nigerian police have always been known to be part of the problem in Nigeria. So to fight against that, to counteract that, right, there'll be schools where they'll be taught. If you feel like in your heart you're that patriotic and you want to join the Nigerian military, you have to go for that training. The training will just be like any other school. You understand? Also, you can also, like, after your university, you can also like go to the school also to, like, further to enhance your training and to enhance yourself. But that's just how I think about it. That's just how I feel about it, man. There will be schools for that where people will go and get the training to become police officers, and they will be trained in mixed martial arts. They will be trained on how to like speak different languages. They will be trained on how to, like, so many tactical skills. They'll be trained on different weapons, just like joining the military. Just basically joining the military, but the only difference is that you're now going to be a police officer. And when you graduate, the ones that end up graduating will be given free, like in Ghana now. Like, there's this new video trending on Ghana where the Ghanaian police force now, they have their own housing units, like very high standard, sophisticated, up-to-date 21st century housing units in Ghana where police officers live for free. These are the kind of things that Nigeria needs. You understand? These are the kind of things that Nigeria needs. So in Nigeria's case, like in all over the states, not even only because there are very rural areas in Nigeria, and the sad part of it is that most of these places don't get because of the fact that there are not enough police officers in charge of those places. You see that there's a lot of crime rates spikes up in those places, right? So there'll be, this thing will be implemented all over Nigeria. Like, there'll be a lot of money involved in it, where Nigerian police force will be taken properly care of, they'll be taken well care of, and their salaries also will be bumped up. To be tell me why Nigerian police in Nigeria, just a normal typical Nigerian police officer earns like less than $10 a month. Like, how? It's sad. Nigeria needs to be Nigeria needs to be revised, man. It's a sad place to live in. So once that has been, taken care of, the next thing that we are now going to have to talk about will be the medical system in Nigeria. That's another big giant problem. The medical system in Nigeria is a very giant big problem. There's this hospital in Nigeria called Uniport. Not Uniport. What did I just say? There's this hospital in Nigeria called UPTH, University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. It's a place where people go to die because of how terrible that hospital is. And I talked again about in my previous episode again, where I talked about how hospitals are so, like, they don't even care about saving lives. It's just all about the money for them. Do you understand? And the excuse that they give is that most people come into most Nigerian patients come, and then when they get treated, they run away without paying. First of all, medical bills in Nigeria, like, first of all, the Nigerian medical system will be free. You understand? It will be so subsidized. It will be socialist in nature, where it will be free. Medical treatment in Nigeria will be free of charge, and the doctors in Nigeria will be taken care of. And hospitals in Nigeria there'll be so many hospitals in Nigeria. Like, the basic things that humans need is just food, water, and shelter, right? And if these three things are covered, life will be easier. Do you understand? Now, imagine in a situation where there are a lot of hospitals in Nigeria. We have a lot of doctors that graduate every year from Nigerian universities, and a lot of them either don't end up not having work, or end up working in just bad hospitals in Nigeria, like dilapidated, not up-to-date hospitals in Nigeria, or they end up leaving the country to go and work somewhere else in other countries, right? And that's just bad. But if there are a lot of hospitals in Nigeria, right, first of all, it's not even the very fact that there are a lot of hospitals in Nigeria, the very reason that there are a lot of hospitals in Nigeria will automatically make hospital bills will automatically reduce the cost of hospital bills, but then it will get to a point where it will have to be free because of how subsidized it is. Because of Nigeria as a country right now, we don't have a presidential hotel. We don't have a presidential hospital. If the president is sick, Like right now, nobody knows where Tinubu is. God, nobody knows where Tinubu is right now as I'm talking to you. The whole he traveled to Brazil for the BRICS summit, right? And after the summit, all the other presidents, all the other heads of states, they've gone back to their countries. But now nobody knows where Tinubu is missing right now. He's missing. Nobody knows where that nigga is right now. That is just the problem we have in Nigeria. That's where a president will be sick, or a president to for checkup, you have to travel to another country, shamelessly travel to another country to go and seek medical attention or to go and seek medical help. You cannot do it in your own country. A country like Nigeria that claims to be the giant of Africa, don't have a presidential hotel why do I keep saying hotel? A presidential hospital where his health can be, where he can be looked after properly. It's sad. So these kind of things that we will have in Nigeria. If I'm the president of Nigeria, it will be everywhere in all 36 states of the country. We will have state-of-the-art hospitals in Nigeria. It would, as in medical problem. We won't have any medical problems in Nigeria. Basically, that is just how it's going to be. We'll have ambulances everywhere. We'll have first responders. We'll have medical helicopters that can take people up, just lift people up wherever they are, wherever the emergency is, man. That is just the kind of Nigeria that I dream about, and the kind of Nigeria that I always dream about. So yeah, that's that about that, man. The next thing that we're obviously going to have to talk about will be food, agriculture in Nigeria. Nigeria, we have a lot of arable land, rich soil in Nigeria. Tell me why we cannot dedicate. Okay, now this is another thing that again that I want to talk about, right? Imagine that all the 36 states in Nigeria have their own different, just their own different things, different contributions that they make, that they bring to add to the whole collective progress of Nigeria. Imagine that somewhere like, let's say, Abia State now, that is known for their fashion sense. They make a lot of clothes. They produce a lot of things that have to do with fashion, like clothes, shoes, belts, every fashion accessory that I can think about. It's produced in Abia State. In another place, let's say just Jos, that's where they produce most of the vegetables. You understand? Tomatoes, onions, everything, anything concerning food will be there in Jos, right? Then you not take another state, let's say Taraba State now will be the place where anything concerning meat or poultry or anything concerning that, man. That's where cattle rear, just like in Texas, right? Just cattle rearing, or just everything concerning meat will be produced in Taraba State. Then places like let's say Port Harcourt or let's say Lagos, these places now will have to do with tourism. You understand? These are the places that's where people from other countries will come for their tourist vacation and just for sightseeing, or should I say Cross River State. Cross River State is a very beautiful state, right? So people from other countries will come there for their tourism and just to enjoy life and just to chill and relax, just the way it is in Dubai. Because Dubai is part of the, part of the greater, you understand what I'm talking about, right? So all these aspects will be shared among the 36 states in Nigeria. Even when it comes to universities, let me say universities, there should be states in Nigeria where the best universities in Africa should be in. That state should be known as the state that has the best schools or the best universities in Nigeria. Another state should be in charge of the schools where military personnel, or should I say aspiring military personnel, go to train and go to educate themselves. You understand? All these different states in Nigeria should be in charge of different things, different aspects of life that contribute collectively to the growth and the progress of Nigeria. Port Harcourt should be known for its oil. Do you understand? Lagos should be known for its trading and stuff like that. So these are just brilliant ideas that I think can, make Nigeria progress. And I find it so, I cannot wrap my head around the fact that the current government in Nigeria don't think of all these things, don't think this far. So to me, I've come to understand that it's either they are that dumb or they are doing it deliberately, because there is something else that's controlling them and telling them to destabilize their own country, destabilize Nigeria. the president of Nigeria is actively and deliberately destroying the country. And it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad thing to watch. So as I was saying about agriculture, right? It won't be like there's this lie that they've lied to us actually, that certain vegetables don't grow in the southern part of Nigeria. Certain vegetables like tomatoes or onions, they don't grow in the southern part of Nigeria. But people have educated themselves, and people are wise enough now to know that is not true. But all I'm just trying to say is that there should be places in Nigeria where where certain things are produced. Let's say, for example, now other places where other places like another state should be like the Silicon Valley of Nigeria. I don't know what state that would be, but another state can be like the Silicon Valley of Nigeria, where we have like a lot of electronics, we have a lot of computer stuff that they produce. Another state should be the states where they produce a lot of cars. You understand? I don't know. This is just like a rough kind of explanation of it. I didn't write this down. Just saying it out of my mind. It's just how I feel, or I think it should go. So that's not about that. Another thing again I want to talk about is like taxing in Nigeria. Yes, in Nigeria, there is not a lot of like taxing. We don't do that because the country is not structured enough for the taxation of citizens. But taxing in general is something that was implemented like thousands of years ago, because back then civilizations or cities were small enough for taxation to be implemented, and for taxation to just work in those cities back then. But the way it is now all over the world, like in places like in America, where somebody will work for a whole month and then the government will collect almost 60% of the person's salary. It's just bad, man. That is that is just stealing, and yet they don't use the money to do anything. But I feel like there are other ways that you can take money from your citizens without without it hurting them that much. So many ways I can take money from citizens. Like, you can implement laws where if they break those laws, the fee that they pay for those things will be like very, very high. You understand? Like, let's say in China now, there is this speed limit, or should I say traffic laws, basically, where if you break the speed limits, even not only in China, in Dubai too, where if you break the speed limit, the kind of money that you pay, you wish you didn't do that, right? But I think maybe as time goes on, people will learn to not break that kind of law. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So I don't yet know how to tackle taxation. Like, I'm not well versed enough economically to know how to like tackle taxation, but I believe that taxation is outdated. Basically, taxation is outdated. The government is not supposed to tax people. If the government is actually going to tax people, it should not be more than 20%. Let me just be, as in, it should not be more than 20%. You understand? Like, if you want to tax people, it should not be more than 20%, because anything aside 20% is just theft. You understand? So, and also the another thing again is that the reason for your taxation should go into things that people can see. Like, these are the things that this is what we'll be paying for the hospitals, we'll be paying the doctors for the hospitals, we'll be paying the police people. You understand? Also, the government generates money in other ways, and so these other ways that the government generates money should be what should be used to take care of all these other places, all these topics that all these things I've been talking about for about an hour now. Paying police people, paying hospitals, paying the fire service. You understand? Taking care of infrastructures, taking care of universities, just keeping the entire country up to date, keeping the entire country clean, keeping the entire country fresh. Do you understand? Another thing again is our time in Nigeria. The last thing I'll talk about today is our time in Nigeria. Nigerians, we are known for African man time. Like, there is this saying in Nigeria where we are always late. But the reason why we are always late is because we are not really serious with our time. That is the reason why we are always late. If if you can incentivize time in Nigeria, if time can be incentivized in Nigeria, you see that people will not be late again. People will like make very good use of their time. People like in Nigeria now, I heard that they all like in Uber, I heard in Nigeria, like if you Uber drivers usually wait for their clients. Imagine waiting 20 minutes for your clients. That is time. That is time being wasted. So if there's a way that you can like implement the incentivizing of time, making it whereby if you waste somebody's time, you pay for it. I think that would make a lot. I think that would make a lot of sense. This is something that I haven't really thought deeply about, but I just feel like it's something that Nigeria is a behavior that Nigerians have to change, but it cannot be changed unless time is incentivized, unless there is consequence for wasting time in Nigeria. So yeah, that's everything I have to say today. I hope I know the way I talked about it sounds kind of boring and sounds kind of not as coherent as you'd want or you'd like it to be, but I'm just saying it fresh out of my head, just saying it fresh out of my mind. And yeah, no scripts, obviously. I never use any scripts, but please bear with me and understand that I'm not a very good storyteller, and I'm still trying my best to I'm still trying my best. I'm just doing the best I can, and I'm still learning actually. So yeah, this is all I can say today. Thank you for chilling with me. Thank you for giving me your listening ears. If you enjoyed this, I hope you did enjoy this actually. If you enjoyed this, share it with people you think might also find it interesting and want to listen to it. And then subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave your likes and your comments, tell me what you think about it. And yeah, that's that about it, man. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye everybody.